The Higher Power of Lucky, Chapter 16. Getting ready to run away. Lucky's original plan had been to pretend to go to her job at the Found Object Wind Chime Museum and Visitor Center early, right after coming back from school, rather than her usual time of late afternoon. But instead she'd run away. Then, when the bus arrived hours before the regular time and Lucky saw Bridget's Jeep and Short Sammy's Cadillac parked at the captain's house, she decided to leave right away. Bridget wouldn't miss her for a long time, but first there were important supplies to get at home. Even though the bus had come back way earlier than usual, HMS Beagle was waiting in the usual place. It was too windy for Lucky to explain about the 3 signs, and anyway, they had to watch out for things blowing around, like dead bushes and pieces of trash. Lucky knew that it could get so windy that even roofs blew off houses, and you couldn't tell what direction you were going because the sun was blotted out. Tiny twisters of sand rose up from the ground, as if miniature people were throwing handfuls in the air. A loose flap of tin banged on someone's roof, and the wind tugged the tamarisk trees sideways. Lucky spread a towel on her bed next to her survival kit backpack. It was already ready, but she checked again to be sure. Crammed inside were empty mint boxes for collecting specimens, scrounged from trash left by ex-smokers, plus a large tin for HMS Beagle's water bowl, nail polish remover and cotton balls, mineral oil for the glistening of eyebrows, a survival blanket, kind of like very strong tinfoil folded up into a tiny square. Not the keep you warm kind of blanket, but shiny so the rescue helicopter can spot it. Also, if you know how, you can use such a blanket to collect drops of water to keep from dying of thirst. Lucky would figure out how this worked if the time came. 12 steps and 12 traditions, borrowed in order to study more about how to find your higher power. Pencil and notebook to describe specimens. Tiny packets of ketchup from McDonald's. Can of beans. The 10-strand round knot. Brand new toothbrush from a teeth cleaning at the Sirius City Clinic, still in its original wrapper so that if she started to lose heart being Lucky's favorite sad but exquisite phrase, she could get out a beautiful never-used toothbrush and make herself feel better. Half a tube of toothpaste. Bottle of water and bottle of Gatorade. The survival kit had everything she would need to keep from getting bored or too lonely, which are probably the worst dangers of running away. On the towel, she laid out her jacket and a roll of toilet paper. She wished she could take her pillow, but it was too bulky. In the fridge, she found 2 hard-boiled eggs, 4 carrots. HMS Beagle loved carrots. The government surplus cheese, which no matter how awful it was, both she and HMS Beagle could eat in case they started starving to death. Fig Newtons, and a box of dry Jell-O in a plastic Ziploc bag to ward off ants. HMS Beagle's kibble in another Ziploc bag. Lucky looked around. On the counter was Bridget's metal parsley grinder, which Dot had fixed so it worked like new. Lucky put it in the towel. Then suddenly she went back into the kitchen. She reached up and grabbed the urn with her mother's remains and her own dried-up tears inside. She added that to the pile and carefully rolled the towel up into a tight but bulky tube. She jammed it into a plastic grocery bag. Lucky was ready to start running away when she realized she might never return to the half-circle of trailers if the rescuers took her directly to the orphanage in Los Angeles. So she was about to go one last time into Bridget's trailer when she heard blasts of tugboat coming closer and closer. Oh la 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 la, she thought. I'll never be able to run away with him here. Go away, Miles, she yelled. I'm busy. Lucky, the storm is really bad. Everyone's at the captain's house saying the power and the phones will probably go out. Can I come in? No, go away. Why? I won't make noises. Miles let himself in and took short skips to the Formica's table. She put Are You My Mother out of his Buy More store sack. Its spine had been freshly mended with duct tape. My grandma fixed my book, he said. Lucky had no time to be nice. That book is wrecked, she said. It looks even worse now. Miles smoothed the duct tape. It's still fine inside, he said. Can you read it to me? Miles, get a life. You already know the story by heart, and it's boring. No, it's not. The part about the snort is good, and so is the part where he finds his mother at the end. That bird is an idiot snotwat, said Lucky. He doesn't even know. Lucky took a breath. He doesn't even realize that his mother is in jail. Miles sat still, looking down at his book. She is not, he said in a small voice. Yes, she is. Your grandmother said so. Lucky leaned over Miles, and her meanness gland pumping. And I'm not your mother either. I'm not taking care of you, so go home. Miles looked up at her with his eyes full of tears. He threw the book on the floor and kicked it. He started crying hard. I'm never coming back, he shouted, and ran out into the wild brown wind. Good, thought Lucky. Then for no reason she got a sudden exploding idea. She rushed to Bridget's trailer and flung open the closet. The perfuming smell of Bridget wafted out of it. There were jackets and a couple of dresses, and neatly folded piles of surgical pants and shirts. At the very end of the rod was Bridget's red silk dress in a clear plastic dry cleaner's bag. The dress felt like a pile of feathers, almost too light and too silky to touch. It made Lucky feel she should wash her hands. It was a dress you'd wear only for something very important, like coming to California to become someone's guardian. The tag said La Fortune Galeries Lafayette, Paris. Bridget hadn't worn it since the day she arrived, but Lucky still remembered the dancey, twirly shimmeriness of that dress. Lucky yanked off her jeans and top and left them on the floor. She pulled the silk dress over her head. Then hem came to the tops of her socks. It was too loose to really fit her, but it felt different next to her skin, not at all like her regular clothes. It turned her into someone else, someone beautiful and sophisticated, who could make a dessert that had flames coming out of it on purpose. Her regular clothes were faded from many washings and from the sun, but the redness of this dress was the same thing for your eyes as the sonic boom is for your ears, for a jalapeno pepper is for your mouth. She felt herself through the fabric and twisted like when you do the hoochie coochie to move the silk against her skin. She felt sort of French and sort of lit up, and wished suddenly that Lincoln were there to see her. This was so strange to her, the flash thought of Lincoln out of nowhere, that she made the thought go into a place inside that wasn't her brain, so she wouldn't have to think about it. Lucky spread Bridget's sunscreen on her hands, arms, face, and neck, carefully not getting much of it on the dress. Outside the wind was stronger, whooshing noisily. She rummaged through the kitchen tool carton until she found a dust mask that you used when you sanded the curved wood walls inside the trailers. She wasn't thinking in the same careful running away project She wasn't thinking in the same careful running away project way as before, because now she had turned into a Bridget type of person. The phone rang. It was Miles's grandmother, Mrs. Prender. "Is Miles there?" she shouted. "I seen the school bus come back early." "No," Lucky said. "I want him home. The wind's getting bad. You seen him?" "No," Lucky lied. "Well, you do. Make him stay put and call me so I can pick him up in the car." "Okay, Mrs. Prender." She hung up. Lucky considered swiping Bridget's passport, because that was another way to stop her from leaving. But it wasn't the best way. The best way would be if Bridget made her own decision to stay because she loved Lucky. And in order for Bridget to realize how much she loved her word, the word had to run away. Then Bridget would feel sorry and worried and abandoned, and that would make her understand exactly how Lucky felt. The phone rang again. Lucky glared at it. She was way too busy for a zillion phone calls. This time it was Lincoln. She put one hand on her silk hip. "Everyone's looking for Miles," he said. "He's probably at Dots or at the Found Object Wind Chime Museum and Visitor Center." "You think? Whoa! Our power just went out. Is yours on?" "Yeah, listen, I have to go. If you see Miles, tell him his grandma wants him." Lucky held the receiver and felt Lincoln waiting at the other end. She realized she was probably talking to him for the last time, unless they allowed the orphans in the LA orphanage to make phone calls, which she doubted. Everyone was so worried about Miles, when it was she who would soon be gone forever. "Lincoln," she said, and struggled around in her mind to figure out what she wanted to say. "You are the best not artist I ever met." Lincoln was silent, either because he was too infected with shyness, or because it was another sign he was guessing the truth. Very gently and sadly, she hung up.